What's going on, Imperials? It's Emperor Cubone here. We got a whole lot of news dumped on us about these brand new Pokemon games, Sword and Shield. Some of it we already knew, but got to see in a new light. But some was critical for successful gameplay, like finally knowing who the professor is. What? Don't pretend like Professor Magnolia didn't answer some burning questions. We were treated to even more of these beautiful, first ever core Pokemon games on a major console, and man did they go all out on the region design here. But of course, generally the things that people are most excited about in any new Pokemon game are the pocket monsters themselves, of which we got a little taste. The first one was Wooloo, the sheep Pokemon, which is said to have exceptional fur treasured by weavers, obviously inspiring its name, although not as cool as the llama Fakemon I made up, Wolpaka. Wooloo is a pure normal type, but could be something else down the line, since I do expect an evolution. To me, not giving this thing the fur coat ability, which is really good, is a huge missed opportunity. But it is said that if it finds itself in a conflict, they'll simply just roll away, which is pretty hilarious. And who knows? Maybe you'll even be able to shear it into styles like Furfrou again. Just hopefully they'll stick this time. The next new Pokemon was Gossifleur, the flowering Pokemon. Its name stems from gossamer, which means very thin, light, or delicate, nothing to do with the giant red hair monster from Looney Tunes of the same name, but also possibly from the genus name of the cotton plant, considering its new ability, Cotton Down. And of course, fleur being French for flower. What is this, Kalos? Obviously, Gossifleur is an early game grass type. This tiny plant likes to live in clean environments, with it also having potential for healing properties. However, we also already know what Gossifleur evolves into, since we were also shown Eldegoss, the Cotton Bloom Pokemon. The seeds on its head are said to promote plant growth, as well as revitalize people and Pokemon. But they do seem like they should be little more than pure grass to me. The reason I think they're early in the game is because we see that we get to battle Eldegoss in the first gym. That's right, gyms are back, but more on that later. Next has got to be my favorite new Pokemon aside from Grookey, Drednaw, the Bite Pokemon, being derived from Drednaw and its powerful jaws lending to the Gnaw. Of course it will be able to learn Bite, and probably all of the Fang moves, and even has the Strong Jaw ability, which is just perfect. Drednaw is an awesome snapping turtle dinosaur thing, and is a water and rock type, which explains the hard shell. But it's said that it's vicious in nature, and makes it a difficult Pokemon to train for all but the most experienced trainers. I foresee this similar to when they announced Mudsdale last generation, and Drednaw won't be available until around the mid-game, but if I'm wrong, I will gladly take it earlier. Next, I'm fairly certain will only be catchable later in the game with Korva Knight, the Raven Pokemon. This Pokemon is big enough to ferry people around the region in a taxi service anywhere you've already been. So basically it's fly but doesn't take up a move slot. There were some people worried about HMs coming back for some reason, but why would they? There were two separate mechanics built in Generation 7 for getting rid of them, but the Corviknight taxi is proof that they will not be back ever again. Anyway, Corviknight is another primary flying type, that's also a steel type, even though to me it screams dark type due to its evil demeanor. But I do not think it's going to be the regional bird like some others seem to. Of course, only time will tell. But if that is the case, it is a bit strange that we haven't yet seen the regional bird, regional bug, or the regional rodent. Maybe at E3. And of course, just as I predicted, we were shown our first look at the box art legendaries for the games, Zacian and Zamazenta. These two are presumably steel types and something else, but they pretty much deliver on the logos of the games, despite the number of videos that I've seen saying not to expect the legendaries to be wolves. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of how similar they look. To me they could just be the same Pokemon in different armor, or that their names both start with Z. Pokemon Z confirmed? But I suppose we'll wait and see what their lore brings us. So those are all the new Pokémon that we were shown thus far. We did see a plethora of familiar Pokémon in what is called the Wild area. This is not a safari zone exactly, but it's a place that I'm sure many fans are excited about. People have been clamoring for a Pokémon Breath of the Wild game, and this is about as close as we can get. I don't know how large the wild area is. Presumably it could be any area on the map that's not a major city, but you can control the camera to move it around. And they even brought back overworld encounters here. Fans seem to really like this feature after Let's Go had them, so they compromised and had a bit of both in the Galar region. It's said that different Pokémon will appear at different times and in different weathers, and I'm assuming difficulty levels as well? I doubt you'd be able to find a sweet Milotic before the second gym badge. But what I love the most might just be that they fixed fishing. I hated fishing in Alola. It was so stupid and limited, so going back to fishing anywhere I want is a huge deal. But now we get to my least favorite piece of information, the new gimmick for Sword and Shield, Dynamaxing. This feature allows Pokemon to become literal giants, and also boosts all of their moves to the max. So it's just huge Model Z moves? But wait, there's more! You can Dynamax once per battle, but then you go back to normal after 3 turns. So it's also limited timed Megas. Cool. As much as I tolerated Megas and acknowledged that Z moves existed, there's no way that this can have a satisfactory in-game explanation. No amount of bond between a trainer and a Pokemon can do this without also including some kind of abomination of science. Or are you telling me that the giant black hole swirling above their heads is a natural phenomenon? Now, one thing I can appreciate about the Dynamax feature is how it works with the red sky beams that I was noticing the whole trailer. If you connect with up to 4 players, you can all tackle a wild Dynamax Pokemon, which are called Max Raid Battles. Huh. Guess they're really doubling down on the Pokemon Go feature integration with these games, aren't they? But only one of the multiplayers will be able to Dynamax in turn, so be sure that your jerk friend doesn't do it when he's not supposed to. Basically, I just hope that Dynamaxing isn't mandatory for most of the game, and since it looks like it's going to be in all of the gyms, it's going to get old real fast. But speaking of gyms, that is one positive thing I can say regarding Dynamaxing. Since the Pokemon growing to skyscraper size is why the gyms are placed in large stadiums with open roofs. So I do like the gym's aesthetic, and the massive cheering crowds. And I was also impressed by the one leader that we've seen so far. Milo is the Grass-type gym leader, and he is incredibly buff. Look at this guy. He's here to let people know to take the Grass-type seriously for a change. It didn't actually say that he was the first gym, but it was at least early enough that the player's Grookey had yet to evolve. And if he is the first gym leader, that would be the first time that a starting type has also been for the first gym, which throws in an interesting wrench depending on who you pick. What? Yeah, no, the trio badge doesn't count. You can't call yourself a gym leader of a starting type if your lead is a Lillipup. But we saw even more important characters in these games. As I said up top, we met Professor Magnolia, who unfortunately, despite being a sweet elderly lady, is stuck researching the lame Dynamax mechanic. But wouldn't it be great if she was secretly the queen? And her assistant is actually her granddaughter in Sonia. Now, I'm not saying that I'm in love, but I was definitely surprised by this red-headed beauty, and would very much like for her to come with me on my Pokemon journey, please. I appreciate their dynamic, and it's said that both of them will provide wisdom and advice on your journey. We also got our first look at the champion, and boy are they ever the champion. Just looking at Leon says winner in every way, from his intense royalty-inspired cape, to the football uniform with both a sword and a shield on it. They say that he has a great personality too, and even claim that he's undefeated in official Pokemon battles. So it's no surprise that the people of the region adore him. But Smart Money still says that a small child will end up defeating the major threat at the end of the day. But what's really cool is that the champion's younger brother is your rival, and his name is... Hop? Seriously? Like, Like a bunny? Like Score Bunny over here? I mean, I'm picking Groupie, so that would make sense for him having a Score Bunny, but that won't be the case for everybody. That's just such a terrible name. Some people have written him off as another easy, friendly rival, but I disagree. He at least looks competent, and like he'll actually put up a decent fight on occasion. And lastly, we learned the official release date of November 15th, everywhere around the world at the same time. But to anyone that's been paying attention for the past 3 years, that wasn't really a surprise. But this is the second time that we've all watched the same direct about these games. So, can we please start pronouncing the region correctly? They specifically said Galar Region at least 15 times, so let's cut it out with the Galar, or the Galar, or the Galar, or anything else. I'm really more talking to my fellow community of content creators here than anyone else, but they're not going to watch this anyway, so... That's about all the new information we know about Pokemon Sword and Shield coming soon. I gotta say, I'm really loving the overall way these games are looking. The region itself looks dynamic and like it will have its own flair, creating plenty of memorable locations. I'm also a fan of the new people that we've met, and I appreciate the distinctiveness of the new Pokemon as well. Even the wild area looks promising as a better safari zone of sorts. Basically, I am a huge fan of the Galar region's take on all of the staple aspects of the Pokemon games, while I do have a few more reservations about the brand new aspects that it brings, like Dynamaxing. Oh no, does this mean I'm a Gen 1er? No, my favorite Pokemon is from Sinnoh, I can't be a Gen 1er. How does this new information impact your view on Pokemon Sword and Shield? Let me know down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time!